So, what's the latest from Meghan Markle? Well, let's just say her attempt at a Hollywood comeback is turning into a disaster, and it's getting more cringeworthy with every passing day. This time, it's a bizarre video that she pitched to NBC for a potential gig on Saturday Night Live. But hold on, this isn't just any video. Meghan went all out with a full green screen, over-the-top effects, and an awkward comedy sketch that has left Hollywood scratching its head in disbelief. Was it funny? Absolutely not. Was it cringe? Oh, you better believe it. Executives at NBC are reportedly shaking their heads, and we're talking about the kind of rejection that could stick a nail in her comeback coffin. You won't believe what happened next. Meghan, in a desperate attempt to get back in the game, decided to throw herself a hilarious curveball. She tried to poke fun at herself. Yes, self-deprecating humor, Meghan style. She created a sketch where she danced on a table while wearing a fake baby bump. She lip-synced to Sabrina Carpenter, ripped a pillow out from under her shirt, and tried to make it all look like a comedy routine. And yes, it got even more ridiculous when she added green screen fireworks, flying feathers, and Katy Perry's firework blasting in the background. Now, you're probably wondering, is this real? But yep, it's real. Meghan thought this would be the ticket back into Hollywood, a fun, quirky way to show she's not above being laughed at, to prove she's self-aware about the baby bump rumors. But instead of laughter, the feedback was, well, let's just say NBC was not impressed. NBC execs watched the whole thing, and the only thing they could agree on was not funny, not edgy, just awkward. And let's talk about the legal nightmare she created for herself, too. She didn't even have the rights to the music she used. No clearance for Sabrina Carpenter and Katy Perry's tracks? Major red flag. But that wasn't even the worst part. So, what did Saturday Night Live honcho, Lorne Michaels, think of this disaster? He shut it down immediately. Like, instantly. This wasn't even about giving it a shot. He didn't even entertain the idea of letting anyone else perform her skit. The nerve. But here's the kicker. Meghan thought she was showing the world she could laugh at herself. It was supposed to be a roast of her own image. But NBC didn't see it that way. They slammed the door hard. Now, this is where it gets really juicy. Meghan reportedly told NBC to bury the video. She wanted it locked away, never to see the light of day. She was hoping it would disappear, but it was already too late. Word started spreading faster than a wildfire. Staffers, interns, producers. Everyone in NBC knew about the video, and it quickly became the punchline of every office conversation. She thought she was showing self-awareness, showing that she could laugh at herself. Instead, it came across as someone desperately trying to fit in and missing the mark entirely. The attempt to be relatable was so forced, so calculated, that it only made things worse. If you're already skating on thin ice in Hollywood, you do not want to mess up like this. And yet, here we are. The whole situation quickly spiraled. NBC wasn't just embarrassed, they were concerned. How could someone with such an image-conscious reputation make such a huge misstep? This wasn't just about a bad video, it was about a glaring disconnect from what Hollywood actually wants. Executives and veteran producers were left questioning how Meghan thought this was a good idea. Was she really that out of touch? And when the video began circulating internally, it only worsened the situation. The skit wasn't just poor taste. It felt like a mockery of the very controversy that had already soured her reputation. The pregnancy rumors, the whispers about her authenticity, all of it was supposed to be turned into humor, but instead, it just made people uncomfortable. But Meghan didn't stop there. No, she wasn't ready to take the hint. Even after this cringe fest, she kept pushing. She reportedly reached out to NBC execs, calling in favors, trying to use her connections to get something going. She wanted to be taken seriously, to show she wasn't going anywhere. But it backfired. Hollywood has a funny way of handling desperation. When you try too hard, they pull away. The more she pushed, the more they distanced themselves. And that, dear reader, is where things started to get really messy for Meghan. Now things didn't just stop with NBC. Oh no, once the video hit the rumor mill, it wasn't just NBC turning their back on her. Word spread through Hollywood like wildfire. One embarrassing incident like this? It wasn't just a hiccup. It was a red flag for every studio, production company, and network out there. Meghan's name started to appear on a secret list of celebrities that every major studio was avoiding. And trust me, it wasn't just small-time execs who were worried. We're talking about some of Hollywood's biggest names, those who call the shots on multi-million-dollar projects. They wanted nothing to do with her. And the worst part? They started to quietly cross her off their list. It wasn't the blacklist of old, where studios would publicly announce their disdain. No, it was far worse. The silent treatment, the ghosting. As soon as that video started circulating, Meghan's chances of landing any meaningful role started slipping away. And we're not talking about a small part in a random film. No, this was big. A potential hosting gig on an upcoming game show, lighthearted, no drama, fun TV. But once that video saw the light of day, even that was put on ice. So let's break this down. Meghan had been trying to secure a spot in a family-friendly game show. The gig was harmless, just a way to ease back into mainstream entertainment without the baggage of her past controversies. But then came the video, and it raised all the wrong questions. Execs were left wondering, how far would she take this? If she was willing to make a spectacle of herself like that for one video, what would she do when the cameras were rolling for real? Would she hijack the entire show for attention? Would she keep pushing the envelope until it became too much? These questions didn't just sit in the back of their minds. They were front and center during every meeting, and that's when the real damage started. Hollywood isn't just about talent. It's about being manageable. You can be a star, but if you're a PR nightmare, you won't last. And Meghan's desperate push for relevance was starting to look less like ambition and more like entitlement. That's the thing. Persistence is respected, but desperation? Not so much. Behind closed doors, Meghan's behavior started to raise alarms. A few months ago, she had been a figure Hollywood was still willing to work with. Sure, there were challenges, but those challenges could have been managed until now. After this colossal misstep, her reputation in the industry had done a 180. At Netflix, her relationship with Ted Sarandos, their CEO, had been a topic of gossip for months. Rumors floated around that Meghan had managed to leverage some kind of unspoken deal to keep her projects greenlit, despite skepticism from others at the streaming giant. But after the NBC video, even Ted couldn't ignore the damage. Netflix execs had to sit through a brutal meeting where they questioned whether her upcoming show, Love Meghan, was even worth continuing. And honestly, the numbers weren't there. The hype wasn't there. All that was left was the growing reputation of an unpredictable and high-maintenance diva. If you thought that was bad, things only got worse at Netflix. For a while, they had kept supporting Meghan's projects, but after the NBC disaster, things changed. Love Meghan Season 2? Not looking likely. Test screenings didn't show a good response, and with this video fiasco, the team started questioning whether it was worth the PR headache. Meghan's image was beginning to look like a bad investment. There's only so much a studio is willing to tolerate from someone who's seen as risky to work with. And it wasn't just the video itself, it was everything that came with it. The lack of self-awareness, the desperate need to prove something. The people around her, those who were meant to have her back, started to privately wonder if this was her last shot. But Meghan wasn't ready to give up just yet. Out in the public eye, she acted like everything was fine. She smiled at red carpet events, posted about exciting things coming, and kept dropping hints that she was just as relevant as ever. But behind the scenes, it was a different story. The phone calls slowed down, the meetings drying up. Even some of her most loyal allies in the industry were keeping their distance. Not because they hated her, but because they no longer trusted her judgment. It wasn't that they didn't want to work with her. It was that they couldn't take the risk anymore. Meghan had tried so hard to reinvent herself as a bold, unfiltered, and funny woman, but instead, she just looked out of touch. The comedy? It wasn't funny. It wasn't charming. It was a huge red flag. Meghan thought she could keep rolling the dice, that she could control the game. But here's the hard truth. Studios don't need you to be fearless. They don't need you to be some rebellious, I'll do anything for attention personality. They need you to be smart. They need you to read the room. And that's where Meghan went wrong. In the end, that video wasn't just a minor misstep. It was a PR disaster that cemented her reputation as someone Hollywood could no longer trust. That's the truth of it. Meghan Markle went too far, tried to force her way back in, and now the door is officially closed. It's not just because of a single bad video. It's because of everything that video represented. A desperate, tone-deaf, and misguided attempt at humor that did more harm than good. Hollywood doesn't take kindly to those who bet big and lose bigger. Big and lose big.